Bethesda just rolled out an epic update about upcoming updates coming to Starfield, including new traveling, which has been a huge ask for a lot of players for a while now. Very excited to see them. This is an article over at purexbox.com. We're actually not going to read through this article today, but fantastic by Ben Carey. If you're not checking out purexbox.com, make sure you do so. It's my go-to place for news. I think that they do a fantastic job. They're really good at, nothing's too long. It's very summary there, so go check it out. But I have jumped back into Starfield. Starfield is probably the most polarizing game of this last year. And I think it's polarizing for a couple reasons. The number one reason is it's Bethesda's first Xbox exclusive game. That naturally brings with it an inherent polarization factor there. And I think there's a lot of news media out there, gaming news media, that are PlayStation fanboys, to be perfectly honest. I thoroughly believe that. I think it's evidenced by their coverage of Starfield. By their coverage of Xbox. Now, right now in comments, there's someone writing as they hear this, like, you just love Starfield. Maybe Starfield just sucks. And maybe there's lots of sucky games out there that aren't as polarizing as Starfield has been. Again, I think the reason that Starfield is polarizing is because it's Bethesda's first major exclusive title. If Starfield was also on PlayStation, thought experiment, if Starfield was also on PlayStation, would it be this polarizing? Would there be this much love and hate for Starfield? And I don't think that there would be. I think that the Metacritic scores would not be attacked. I do not think that the scores would drop over time. Starfield is a fantastic game. It really is. Here is the double-edged sword, though. And I don't think that Starfield helped themselves in this respect. Todd Howard, when Starfield first dropped, talked about, they didn't say everything that was in the game. They didn't talk about all the features in the game. They want players to discover it. They want players to teach each other that game. I think that's cool. I really do. But I also think it's a double-edged sword. And I think that if you don't explore, if you don't do certain quests in the game, you don't know that something exists. That something that is big in the game exists. For instance, planet exploration. They don't hold your hand with planet exploration, how to explore planets, what the purpose of exploring planets is, or anything like that. I rushed through because you're relying on players to share information on a lot of this stuff, which I think is a novel idea. I think it's a cool idea. I think it is a double-edged sword. But because of that, I took bad advice. At the drop of Starfield, I rushed through the main campaign, almost did 0 side quests, finished it, got to New Game Plus, enjoyed it, then stepped away. That was me done. A couple months later, decided, okay, you know what? I'm going to come back to Starfield and start doing these side quests just because I have no single player game at the moment. This is my game that I want to play. And I'm blown away and I'm pissed off at my bad advice that I got from players at launch. If you've not played Starfield, if you've not tried out yet, just play the game. Play it as usual. Do not rush through the main campaign. Play it, explore it as much as possible, and you will be rewarded. I'm finding stuff out about Starfield that I had no idea existed. And I think that is part of the polarization. I think that's this double-edged sword. I think long-term that pays off. I think in the short term, you get players, for instance, right now in comments, someone is saying, well, hey, I tried out Starfield. It's just not for me. And it may just not be for you, but it may not be for you because you've not discovered some of these features because they do not hold your hand at all. I think that's a double-edged sword 100%. So let's jump through this update here. Now, one thing that Todd Howard, there is travel coming in this update. One thing that Todd Howard and Pure Xbox actually talks about it here in this article. Again, go check out purexbox.com. One thing that they talked about is travel coming. And Todd Howard, when the game first launched, said that vehicle travel would change gameplay. And so that's why it wasn't in there. So if we're bringing in travel, what is that going to look like? Let's go through this Reddit post first. So this is in addressing a patch that they recently dropped. It's a follow-up to that patch. So, hey everyone, this is from Bethesda Game Studios. First, we read all the feedback here and greatly appreciate it and all the time and thought you put into the game. This small update, this is the update that we're talking about, was to mostly address the pet asteroid. So many asked about following our last larger update, and we wanted to get that out before the holiday. We've been hard at work on many of the issues you've posted and expect an update early next year that will include a large number of in-progress quest fixes, as well as SFR3 and XESS Those are graphical updates right there, technological enhancements that I think are big if you're on the PC, less big, I think, on console. Excuse me. Though we fixed several quest issues from occurring, in-progress quest fixes are much harder to fix, and we've built a new system to correct those without you having to roll back your save. Excellent. And here's the key now. Here's the key updates. We're also hard at work on many of new features you asked for, from city maps to mod support to all new ways of traveling. Stay tuned. All new ways of traveling. So first of all, city maps are absolutely huge. City maps are something, I understand why the map functionality on unexplored planets and procedurally generated planets does not exist or exists in the way that it exists now. Makes total sense. But on handcrafted planets and main cities, we should have maps. Once again, this is one of those double-edged swords that I think was actually an oversight on city maps. I have discovered things in New Atlantis that I never knew. It took me, I went through almost the entire main campaign before I realized there was this whole underground city to New Atlantis. Spoiler alert, there's a whole underground city to New Atlantis called The Well. Go check it out. I played almost the entire campaign. It wasn't until the end of that campaign when I was forced to go down there for something, I don't even remember what it was, that I was like, oh my goodness, there's a whole new city down here underground. I think that's part of that double-edged sword. I think that's one of the prime examples that a city map would fix immediately. Like, wait a minute, what is this that I'm missing out? The same is said in the Freestar Collective main cities. There's this whole back area that I didn't experience until I went and did the side quests. And one of the main side quests that I did in my initial playthrough of Starfield was the Freestar Marshal. I became a Marshal, baby, over at the Freestar Collective. That's right. And I did that. And I didn't know about this whole side of the city. I never had to explore it. It didn't force me. It didn't hold my hand over there. I'm exploring it now. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So I think that's big. All new ways of traveling is absolutely huge here, and let's discuss that in a minute. Let's go through the rest of this Reddit update here. These will be rolling out with a regular cadence of fixes and updates we expect to have roughly every 6 weeks. If something can be done in a smaller hotfix in between, like the asteroid for instance, and we feel it's safe, we'll get one of those out as well. Safe is the key here. We do not take a lot of time to test even the small. Sorry, we don't. We do take a lot of time to test even the smallest change in a game this large and dynamic. Hope this information helps. If there are any items you want more info on or issues to make us aware of, keep posting here on or our official Discord. Thanks again for all your support of us and the game. So first of all, this sentence structure, nitpicky, is a little bit off. Like, I would definitely look through that, make it more smooth. It doesn't read as smooth as it could. Just run that bad boy through, I don't know, ChatGPT and let's smooth that out for you. There, minor concern. Big thing here though, travel. Absolutely. So let's talk about travel for a minute. How will new travel methods impact the overall gameplay and exploration in Starfield? We touched on this earlier. Todd Howard, when Starfield first dropped, said that it would impact overall gameplay. As someone who recently jumped into exploration of planets, and when you explore a planet in Starfield, you've got to scan fauna, you've got to scan plant life, and you've got to scan minerals, and then search out undiscovered locations to fully explore a planet. In its current iteration, so first of all, I've been exploring. This is one of those things where it doesn't hold your hand instances, and I've been really diving in deep on the exploration build of my character at the moment, loving it. But it's extra tedious with the way that travel currently works. Will we get mounts, for instance? Maybe. Maybe vehicle travel won't be a thing. Maybe it'll be some sort of mount that you get, which I think would be super cool. I mean, there's enough life forms out there. Why not make it a mount? Maybe it's your jetpack. I don't see fast traveling being a thing. I think that actually doesn't enhance the experience of exploration. And maybe they just say, okay, you know what? We messed up here and we were wrong about vehicle travel. Maybe vehicle travel does come. But if they don't want to add vehicle travel, I think mounts makes absolute sense. I think mounts in the game would be really cool. and add a lot, especially on the exploration factor there. So we'll see. I think it enhances exploration 100%. I think it would just make it. Let's put it this way. Right now in exploration on some planets that don't interest me, I just go straight to points of interest that I need to go to. I try to maximize my efficiency. Whereas in Skyrim, I often would go off the beaten path to explore because it wasn't tedious. Vehicles would encourage, or not even just vehicles, mounts, this new travel methods would encourage me to go off that beaten path, not focus so much on efficiency because it would make it much less tedious. I think it's only an improvement here. Absolutely 100%. Next question. What creative mods can we expect to see once mod support is fully integrated, and how might they transform the game? I mean, they said this game was built from the ground up. We recently saw for mods and for their creation team. We recently saw on consoles and everywhere they rehauled their creations, and there was an update for that it also exists on consoles, like I said, to Skyrim. Skyrim is still a top played game from Bethesda, and what is it, over 12 years old at this point? Maybe even older than that. I haven't checked. Last I heard, it was 12 years old, but I actually downloaded the update for Skyrim to go check out creation, see how it worked on console. I have to say, works fantastic, makes the game much more interesting. That's a game that they did not build from the ground up with mod support in mind. Starfield is a game that they built from the ground up with mod support in mind. I think it's absolutely going to transform the game. I think in 5 years' time, we're going to look at Starfield the same way that we look at Grand Theft Auto Online, for instance, and are just amazed at how successful it is. Amazed at how much support is going into it. There's been multiple articles already about how many devs are still on Starfield at the moment. And it's like, well, yeah, guys, this is a long-term project. This isn't a drop it and leave it. They built this for long-term support. So it's very exciting, and I think it's only going to get big. Considering the upcoming technological enhancements like FSR 3, how do you think these will affect the visual and performance aspects of Starfield? It's only going to improve it. It's only going to make it more interesting and fun, particularly if you're on the PC, particularly if you have high-end PCs. I think you already see really beautiful planetscape shots from Starfield. Starfield's a beautiful game. On console, on PC, in its current form. With technological upgrades, I think we're only going to see more of these types of screenshots. We're only going to see more of them highlighted, and I think it benefits, again, Starfield in the long run. Now, some of you in comments might be saying, this guy's just a Starfield fanboy. I do. I really like Starfield. I think it gets a bad rap for undue reasons, and it doesn't even get a bad rap. What is it, in the 80s right now? But that Metacritic score has slowly decreased over time and has led to a lot of people saying, hey, this game is not for me. I think if you fully dive in and explore it, you'll find that the game is for you. They've done a really good job. Is it perfect? No. Is it the best game? I think time will tell if it's the best Bethesda game. It's definitely not perfect, but I very much love it, especially as I dive in and explore it more. I'm very excited for these updates. I'm very excited for this regular cadence of update, and I think Starfield is a game that's going to be around and going to be in the conversation now for years. So well done, Xbox. Well done, Bethesda, on that front. Let's end that video here today with that. If you like this video, if you like videos like this where we just talk about things Xbox, hang out, talk about games and our passion of gaming, this is the channel for you. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to it. Share it with your friends as well. Love hanging out with you guys. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.